Welcome to the Astraea server. I am Old Schlake Dog, and this is my first ever Minecraft video. I have no clue what I'm gonna do. So while I try to figure that out, I'm gonna send you to a title montage. Now, one of the advantages of starting a channel 5 months into a server is that I have a large number of unfinished projects that I could make a video out of. For instance, I could do something with any one of these square plots that I've already placed around the village, like this baker right here, or even this glass maker, and even this tavern. It kinda needs a second floor and possibly even a roof. This bridge is in desperate need of attention. Yuck. I could finish any of the homes that I already started, or possibly put some effort into this custom tree, or even this custom tree, or maybe, and hear me out here, I could actually finish a water feature. But all that kinda seems boring for a first episode. And that ultimately brings me to my biggest dilemma.
I didn't want to do this channel unless I was going to do something different from everybody else. I wanted to do something unique. Not that there's anything wrong with the way that the normal Minecraft video is formatted. It's the standard for a reason. It responds very well to an audience. It's what brought me into the community. They can be beautiful. They can be educational. They can be inspiring. And is it weird that I don't want to be any of that?
So I am going to show you a very, very special work in progress. And to prove that I am blazing my own path, I am not going to finish it in this episode. But first, you need a little context. This is a trial chamber. A big, massive structure with a bunch of hostile mob spawners scattered throughout. And by itself, it can be an overwhelming challenge for anybody who isn't prepared. But I had a different idea. What if we used it for target practice? Kind of like a walkthrough shooting gallery, or kind of like a mob zoo for wholesale slaughter.
In Minecraft. Literally.
And I know that I called it a mini game, but I also called it a work in progress, so I just want to temper expectations here. There is no redstone, and the fault of that is entirely my own. There are a few areas in the current version of it that are just too compact to allow any kind of redstone enhancement, and that is 100% my own oversight, nobody else's. So version 2, the current version, is not going to contain any redstone. That doesn't mean that version 3 can't, but hey, I don't want to undersell this. Version 2 is still a massive upgrade from the prototype, and that prototype is what we're going to visit right now. And here it is. Sort of. This is the exterior. I really just wanted to show you how it fits inside of the trial chamber, while still leaving plenty of room for activities. Look at this. And this is frankly wasted space in the prototype. This, yes, for real this time, this is the entrance to the prototype. The idea is pretty straightforward. Just follow this hallway until you come across a boxed-in mob spawner. You'll know you've come to a mob spawner when you see this obsidian window. I'll explain the copper block in just a moment. Now just bring out your bow and arrow, walk up, and activate the spawner. Now, start killing. And once the mob spawner has been successfully defeated, break out your pickaxe, remove the copper block, and go collect your loot. This handily reminds you where to place the copper block, so the next person doesn't get swarmed by that spawner. And now we move on. Alright, so I'm not gonna give you the full tour, mostly because it's just a prototype, and as I said, I'm already working on version 2. And you might notice as we move along that there are some missing walls and some ugly bits. Those were all details that were deemed worthy of being in version 2. So it might look like I don't know what I'm doing, but no, that's a good thing. There are some things that are not so good about this prototype. And as you can see, walking through the halls, they are pretty uniform, and it's very confusing. It's very easy to get turned around backwards and not realize for a little while. And also, there's no topside structure. Quite a few ideas were battered around, and I thought about having like a saloon, but ultimately nothing ever came to pass. And the only thing that is sitting here looks suspiciously like all my custom trees, so that's gotta go. Now, all of this is easy enough to fix, but there are some issues that are actually quite critical. The oversight, it hurts. For one, many of the mob spawners are very easy even with ominous bottles. I can even drink a level 5 and do most of this prototype without breaking much of a sweat. And the final triple spawner is really just a double because the spiders are really dumb. And on top of that, if I drink an ominous bottle too high up in the prototype, I accidentally cause a raid in my village. And trust me, my poor nitwits are not prepared to defend themselves. Now I can escape with an elytra, but that's extremely wasteful every single time. And I have to wait for the countdown to cool off before I can return. But the most critical issue is how far away from spawn I am. Most players don't come out this way. There's 0 foot traffic. And as anyone will tell you, location. Unfortunately, I failed. All those reasons and more is pretty much why I never opened up this minigame to the public. I was more than prepared to tuck this away and never talk about it again. But then another player from the server entered the picture, CreativeVillages, or as we lovingly call her, CV. These are just a few of her builds around the server, and all of them showcase her amazing artistic flair. Just imagine what kind of character she could bring to the shooting gallery. CV had a trial chamber beneath her own territory too. And, luckily for me, she didn't know what to do with it. It was offered to me for version 2, and in that moment, an epic collab started. For my contribution, I started off by making things harder. The obsidian window is now larger. This serves 2 functions. First, it gives fewer places to hide, and second, there's no messing around with any silly copper block. After the spawner has been defeated, simply jump in and collect your loot. And these honey blocks keep the bad guys from jumping out. We went with a temple ruins theme for the hallways, and I'll show you CV's contributions here in just a moment, and we can marvel at them together. But first, it's kinda obvious that I have not finished detailing these walls, and that's my job. Yeah, I kinda got distracted with making this video. Oops. So, to fulfill my promise of making progress on a project without finishing it, I gotta get these walls done, Chief. And blammo! The walls are done. And with that, I have completed my objective for this video. It's safe to go ahead and end. I'd like to thank everybody for their love and support, and I will see you next time. Thank you very much. Except, that doesn't really feel like the end, does it? I mean, you can look at the status bar and clearly see there's more of the video left. But even if you didn't do that, it just doesn't feel like an ending. In fact, if I leave it as is, I created a boring video, and that is not what I wanted to do. So to remedy this, I'm going to have to show you a more exclusive sneak peek at how version 2 is coming along. We solve the problem of players getting lost by utilizing the space within the trial chamber way smarter. For one, we knock down walls to create unique landmarks to make it impossible for the player to get turned around. I also installed a healing station midway through to act kind of like a checkpoint. Another benefit of version 2 is I have a wider selection of enemies. For instance, this baby zombie spawner, giving everyone an opportunity to just stand here and wail on little children.
In Minecraft. Literally in Minecraft. Oh my god.
And as a finale, I made sure the final spawner could not be skipped. You've got to fight your way to the exit. And as promised, it's time to take a look at how my collab partner is making me look like a newbie. And these are the temple ruins. This is the topside structure that CV created freehand. This is far and above anything I could have imagined. And let's not overlook the hedge maze in the back and the utility entrance on the side. And on top of that, she solved the location fail by connecting the ruins to her Volcano battle arena, which, by the way, has its own dedicated nether portal. And yes, we have used this arena before. Check out the links in the description for those videos. But none of that compares to what she's doing on the inside. Look at this. This is a tiger's head, which is just the entrance to a cave. Now, I'm not going to show you everything because most of what CV is doing is more exploration and I don't want to spoil the magic. But I did want to give you some examples to show you why she is the perfect collab partner for version 2. And please remember, she is doing this freehand. She is a freaking artist. Week after week, one thing is becoming painfully obvious. I am the worst builder on the server. The imposter syndrome is real. But am I even good enough to have imposter syndrome? Now that may seem really negative, but hear me out. If I consider myself a student of Astraea instead of an equal, then I have completely eliminated any ego I have about how I build. And now I have a server full of talented artists that I can learn from. There are a handful of others who release videos on YouTube, which I will link them in the descriptions below, please check them out. But even the ones who don't, I get to look at their amazing builds up close. I can learn hands-on from literally the best that I know. And in time, I can earn my place as an equal among them. Even if it's just from my own perspective, still on that day, I will have earned the question, am I good enough to have imposter syndrome? And no, this is not some self-defeatist talk. This is a mission statement. That day will arrive, and I will earn it by being a student. But only if I continue to push myself better than I was before, and that brings us back to version 2. You see, there's one detail that I overlooked because I'm really good at acting before I think. And that little tiny minuscule detail is I have no idea how these spawners are going to react to the ominous bottles. Every spawner reacts a little differently, and there's no way to know based on the mob that it produces. In fact, the only way to know is to drink an ominous bottle and figure it out. So that's what we're gonna do. Cue the music, drink the potion, and start an action time lapse. So maybe you noticed that a few too many of the bad guys were escaping their cages. That's a problem, but it's nothing that a handful of trapdoors can't solve, so I got lucky there. However, there were a few minor issues that arose, and they're gonna need fixing. But hey, that's the point of playtesting, right? And as I said earlier, I have a server full of creative geniuses who can help me troubleshoot. All I have to do is ask. Yeah, I'm gonna learn to make this minigame epic. One issue that kept happening actually turned out to be a bit of a benefit. You see, I kept causing raids, and I couldn't figure out why because I wasn't anywhere near a village. Well, I had accidentally made a village underground, and I had to go above ground and deal with them. And that has given me a half-dozen raid captains, which is pretty handy because I've been collecting hostile mobs lately. I don't really know why. I mean, it makes sense for the charged creepers because I can sell those, but who's gonna buy a raid captain? And just to show you how clueless I am about all of this is me leading a sheep by accident because I thought it was a boat. However, in all of this pandemonium, I did manage to score my very own pet Ravager. Again, I have no idea what I'm gonna do with him. I'm happy to take any ideas you have if you've got any, just put them in the comments below. And would you look at that? I managed to piece together my very first video. Hell yeah! And I already have an idea for my second video. Well, not so much an idea as a necessity. I've been neglecting my shops at spawn and they desperately need attention. So let's see if I can make an interesting video out of that. Good luck. In the meantime, take care of yourselves out there and I'll talk at you next time.
Wait. I just made a normal, regular Minecraft video, didn't I? Son of a bitch.